This story is from Chabad.org. There was once a very wealthy man named Avigdor, and he wanted to give a donation to the Baal Shem Tov. So he gives the donation. So the Baal Shem Tov said, I would like to give you a bracha. I'd like to give you a blessing. And Avigdor says, no, I don't want a blessing from the rabbi. I don't need it. And the Baal Shem Tov looks at Avigdor and he says, well, maybe your family would like a blessing or anything in life. I'd like to give you a blessing. And Avigdor says, I have the perfect family. I have everything that I can want. I'm very wealthy. Everything is going amazing. I don't want any blessing. So the Baal Shem Tov looked at Avigdor and he said, then can you do me a favor? And Avigdor was thinking to himself, how can I do the Baal Shem Tov, such a big holy rabbi? How can I do him a favor? But okay, what's the favor? So the Baal Shem Tov said, I'm about to write a letter to a man who lives in the town of Brody where you live. He's the head of the charity committee there. I would like you, when you go home, if you could deliver this letter to him. Can you do that for me? So Avigdor says, of course, I'll deliver the letter. So the Baal Shem Tov, for the next couple minutes, he writes this letter. He hands it to Avigdor. He says, thank you, and he goes on his way. Now, Avigdor had many thoughts when he was traveling home. It was a little bit of a distance. And by the time that he got home, he completely forgot about the letter that he had told the Baal Shem Tov that he would deliver to this man in his town of Brody. So 16 years have gone by, 16 years, and everything changed for Avigdor. He was rich, he's now poor. He had everything he wanted, everything is falling apart, everything in his life. He doesn't know what to do. He's so poor that even his clothes, he has to sell his clothes just to put food on the table for his family. So one day he's going through his closet of his clothes and he sees a jacket that he hasn't worn in 16 years. And he sees in the jacket there's this letter and it's penned by the Baal Shem Tov 16 years ago, and he remembers that he hasn't delivered the letter to the person he was supposed to deliver it to, the head of the charity committee. It's addressed to a Mr. Tzadok, the head of the charity committee. 16 years have gone by. So he grabs the letter and he runs into the street. Does anybody know where I can find the head of the charity committee, Mr. Tzadok? He hadn't given tzedakah, he hadn't given charity in 16 years. And everyone's like looking around at him like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's trying to find someone who can tell him where this guy is, where this Mr. Tzadok, the head of the charity committee, where can I find him? So finally he's running through the street. He's running so fast. And finally, he comes across a guy. It says, Mr. Tzadok, you mean the head of the charity committee that was just elected the head of the charity committee today? And Avigdor's looking at this guy and saying, no, 16 years ago, the Baal Shem Tov gave me this letter 16 years ago for Mr. Tzadok. What do you mean he was just elected today? And the guy looks at him. Our town has never had a head of a charity committee until today. Mr. Tzadok was elected today. So none of this is making any sense to Avigdor. It's not adding up. He just says, okay, I don't even care. Just tell me where I can find him. Where is he? So this man says he's in the back of the synagogue. You'll find him there. So Avigdor, he runs to the synagogue, and sure enough, there's a man in the back of the synagogue. So he gets in. He says, are you Mr. Tzadok? He says, yes, I'm Mr. Tzadok. Who are you? He explains who he is, that he's Avigdor. He tells him a story that he got this letter 16 years ago from the Baal Shem Tov when he was rich, when he had everything going for him, and now he's lost everything, and he was supposed to deliver this letter, and he never did. And it seems a little odd to both of the men because Mr. Tzadok was just elected the head of the charity committee today. So the two men, they open up the letter, and they decide to read it together. And this is what the letter said. This is what the Baal Shem Tov had written 16 years earlier. Dear Mr. Tzadok, you were with a man named Avigdor. He was once a very rich man who had everything that he wanted in life. But he didn't accept the blessing. He was very arrogant in his ways. And now he's lost everything. And he's become very, very poor. Since you were just elected the head of the charity committee of your town, Brody, today, I know that you have the power to help him. I know that you have the power and the resources to help him once again become rich. And this time he will become rich, but he will not be arrogant. He will give tzedakah, he will give charity, and he will accept blessings when he's offered a blessing. Please help him. In case you doubt any of my words, your wife is pregnant and she's about to have a baby boy. Signed, the Baal Shem Tov. Just as the two men conclude reading the letter, someone bursts into the doors of the shul saying, Mazel tov, congratulations, Mr. Tzadok. Your wife just gave birth to a baby boy. So here we have an unbelievable story that the Baal Shem Tov knew that this man, Avigdor, was going to forget for 16 years to give this letter, and then on that exact day that this Mr. Tzadok was going to be elected the head of the charity committee, it's unbelievable that he gave him the letter that day and that he was going to lose all his stuff. The Baal Shem Tov knew this 16 years earlier. It's an amazing thing, but there's also an incredible lesson to learn out from here. When someone offers you a blessing, especially when it's from a rabbi, an amazing rabbi someone who's very holy and special, but anyone in general, when someone offers you a blessing, don't think that you have everything that you can have in life, because God can take away anything in a second. We always need to be thankful for everything we have. And we always need to understand that every single day, that everything we have comes from God. So let's always accept blessings from other people. Let's always give blessings to other people. Let's love each other. Let's do good. And let's never stop being thankful for all the good things that we have in our lives.